Yeah, I got the plan, I got the fam, I got the keys, I get to work. I am the man, you know what I'm saying, so leave it to me, cause I get it first. Yeah, woo, I've been going all day, man. Same plan, can't change that. Till I'm riding around, whole squad sitting back, chilling in the Maybach. Yeah, only as deep as your roots go. I don't do corny like fructose. If you got the drama, that's word to my mama, I'll cover you up like a tombstone. I was last in my past, now you see I'm the one. They say work, never work, if you work and it's fun. We on a winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We on a winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We can do, ayy, we coming up from the dirt, ayy. They tryna get us to fall, ayy. I don't even gotta flex now, boy. It's only win by the fault, ayy. Taking off with the ring, ain't nothing left, man. We the kings, ran with the team, ran with the dream, ran with the one fan in the seats. Ayy, I pay my dues, check the receipt. Looking at you, you already peaked. Way back then. You can't follow in my tracks, man. I was last in my past, now you see I'm the one. They say work, never work, if you work and it's fun. We on the winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We on the winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We on the winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up. We on the winning team, on top where you find us. We can do anything, non-stop till our time's up.
coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson. Unbelievable finish. It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race.
Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Lowe. 4 wide at the stripe.
For all he's with here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out?
Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
From one side of the Keystone State to another, we give you a warm winter welcome to night number 2 of the Pennsylvania Nationals for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series, live from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway with coverage right here on the KBueno Racing Network. We made the trip all the way from Lernerville and now reached to Williams Grove, and we are glad to have you join us on the penultimate race until the new year. We're alongside Francisco Bacchiano in the booth. My name is Kenneth Bueno, and we've had 4 different winners this season so far, Francisco, and our second night of the Pennsylvania Nationals could possibly continue our trend after Gage Stevens ran to victory last night in our first night here in the Pennsylvania Nationals.
Happy to be here, Kenneth. Thanks for having me on here. And yeah, we could be seeing a trend of possibly a new winner here tonight, but of course, the threat of a repeat winner always will persist, as these are some incredible drivers out on the dirt track. Qualifying is just about to begin, so we will get to see who will line up in what heat and in what position to determine our lineup for the feature race. Based on the amount of people I'm seeing here right now, we may not have enough for an LCQ where people will be missing, but that could change at any time.
And of course, drivers getting their qualifying laps in right now to see where everybody will start. And I mentioned those 4 different winners, and it's been a plethora of drivers who have at least captured 1 checkered flag so far this season. However, it is not without someone at the top of it all. That driver would be Cody Meadows for AOD Racing, and the number 88, who's won 3 races this season, with Lane Stevens following shortly after with 2 wins. And Francisco, just looking at the lineup of drivers we've seen week in and week out, obviously some new names and some names we usually see each and every week. We've obviously some drivers who are making their first starts, are starting to find their way into this series. But in terms of the drivers we've seen for the most part throughout our coverage, it's hard not to count out drivers like Meadows or Stevens whatsoever because they've been so good. But there are a surprising amount of drivers who have competed at such a high level but have yet to win, and tonight could be that opportunity to change it all completely.
One name that comes to mind that of one of those drivers has been consistently good has been Caleb Morris. He's finished second, I believe, 3 times, and he's won a lot of heats. So tonight could be an opportunity for him to sort of try and get that first win of the season and get that monkey off his back, because he's come close so many times. And a couple other notable names trying to have a good run. We see Aiden Kirker jump to second there, just 200s behind Cody Meadows. We also have, I don't believe Cole Williams is here today, but drivers like them too need good runs to sort of turn their seasons around.
And Caleb Morrissey, the driver you mentioned, is yet to pick up a win, but it has been so very close in some of the past couple of weeks. And we talked about it. We've seen it right firsthand, Francisco, where that number 6 was there up there in the top 3, top 5 by the end of this race, and either an incident or just something along the lines of just another driver getting by would kind of spell the story for him, and that's why he has yet to really reach victory lane. Tonight really could be the difference between staying winless in the season so far, having to wait a little longer, or having that checker flag and getting that chip off of your shoulder. Well, to get a little bit more reference of to where we are in the virtual world, we'll just take a look further with our KBRN Track Map with images provided by Google Earth. Take a look all the way into the Keystone State and Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, where you'll find this half-mile racetrack. The William Grove Speedway track opened all the way back in 1939. Lots of history has been made right here with the guardrail walls that cover this racetrack. We have the clay surface once again, so obviously pretty much the trend that we've seen throughout this entire season. Just all the clay surfaces starting at Eldora, go over to tracks like Volusia Speedway Park and the USA International Speedway. But one thing to note here, Francisco, is this track and the way it's built. You see the track surface and obviously the way the configuration is from this track map view at the top aerial shot, and you can see how closely resemble it is to the USA International Speedway in the way that has those long straights, but it has those very tight corners that can keep you on edge.
Yeah, it's very similar to USA, as you mentioned. The only difference is a little bit more banking here than there was at USA. It's also more of a purpose-built dirt track instead of an asphalt dirt racetrack like USA, which has both configurations. You can see it has the classic guardrail up on the sides, a lot of more natural sort of dirt track aesthetics to it. You see the power lines there, rather exposed really in the corners. So this is more of a purposely built dirt track instead of an asphalt / dirt combination, which USA was. So it could be an interesting difference when it comes to the surface because it sticks here more times than not.
And of course, Williams Grove was one of those tracks that was added to the iRacing platform a couple of years back as a part of the dirt build when they first introduced the dirt, when they went for the sprint cars and the dirt late models and every dirt car that you can find on the iRacing platform. When they introduced it, and it was the first thing that it came out. Meanwhile, we are up in here at heat number 1. This will be the first heat of the afternoon, and it'll be 8 laps, of course, with driver who's won 3 times this season, Cody Meadows, at the head of it all with Caleb Nickel right to his outside. It's just a 5-car field here with Cameron McCone, Brady Wallerman, and Shane DiMantova being the final 3 drivers, and they will be in this one. Pretty sure everybody will make it into the main event, considering that we basically do not have more than 16 drivers registered in the entire session so far. So we're probably looking at everybody making it in. Everybody, regardless of where they sit in the heats, will have a spot in the main event. Meanwhile, Pace Truck will find its way down a pit road. It'll be Meadows and Nickel leading the field to the green flag in heat number 1, and they're up and away down the long front straightaway. We are under green for the first heat of the Pennsylvania Nationals in night 2.
A good launch by everybody there. Really, they've been able to keep it clean through this first half lap or so. Nickel all over the back of Cody Meadows early on. Meadows a little bit high off turn number 4, but we see Nickel wasn't able to take advantage. So it's a lap 1, Cody Meadows right where he enjoys being in that lead position.
And right where he's used to being. Already 3 wins in this season. His most recent coming at the Florida Nationals in that 3rd night at a track at the USA International Speedway, which we had just previously mentioned. There's Caleb Nickel sitting in 2nd. He just scraped the outside wall. One of those drivers also that we've seen that has been up in the top ever since his entrance into the series. He joined a little bit later than some of the drivers that we've seen so far. Obviously, drivers like Meadows, Wallerman, DiMantova, who have been there since the start. Nickel, on the other hand, kind of joined a little bit later, but nonetheless has shown his skill on the dirt tracks. He's been one of those drivers to face off into the top 5 and has been one of those threats. He just hasn't been just close enough yet to the victory. You see him trying to get all the way to the inside, try to slide up the track. There's 4 laps to go in this heat. Top 2 at a breakaway with right there Brady Wallerman in 3rd.
A difference between this racetrack and USA is that the corners, look at how wide and sweeping they are. You can really attack these corners and make a move. We see actually Caleb Nickel on the inside of Cody Meadows trying to take the lead away in this first heat, and that's what this racetrack is allowing for, side-by-side action with how wide the racetrack is. You can make a move. You can try something different from the guy in front because there's all that room available. Caleb Nickel to the inside and clear of Cody Meadows with 3 laps to go.
There goes Nickel for the heat lead at 3 laps to go. Meadows going to try to have a save back on the inside, but it might not be enough for now. He may try the slide job here into turn 1 and 2 with the 29, just trying to pinch all the way down, making sure that the 88 does not get where he wants to be. And now we're going to get to 3 and 4. We'll catch the white flag in heat number 1 of the night. You see the 88 trying to look to the inside. Nickel, though, with a slight advantage.
They're side by side into one. What does he tried a slide job right there and it wasn't gonna work. So we'll see what happens in 3 and 4. Caleb Nickel out in front ahead of Cody Meadows. It's these two for the win. Goes high, probably won't be enough. He's gonna get really wide, and Caleb Nickel is gonna win the first heat here.
So Caleb Nickel gets by the 88 of Meadows to win heat number 1 from Williams Grove. Meadows second, Brady Wildman will sit third. Cameron McCone and Shane DiMantova, who had a battle for 4th, they sit themselves 4th and 5th. DiMantova was at the tail end where he started in this heat, kind of doing a little break dance there on the front straightaway. I guess maybe had contact to the outside wall, and now he's just trying to have some fun at the end of this one. Remember, everybody will make it into the main event, so there will be nobody going home. And according to the officials, we'll just have 3 heats and a B main, just to kind of figure out where everybody will be starting in this field, just to make sure the order is correct. And there will not be an elimination type style. We won't have anybody heading home. Everybody will make the show. So regardless of whether you're in this session or not, you will be guaranteed a spot in the feature event. We're going to go over into our second heat. We'll have 1 less car this time, only 4 to compete on the racetrack for 8 more laps. It'll be Aiden Kirker rocking a new paint scheme this time around, a Map TV number 17 machine. He'll start at the head of this heat. Right alongside him will be AOD Racing driver and teammate of Cody Meadows in the 88. The 48 of Zach Arnold will start in second. That second row will file out with Jay Barker and league owner himself, JJ Hill, in the number 3 machine. Going to be starting on the outside of row number 2. Well, this one is obviously different than what we saw at USA, Francisco, because obviously you had mentioned before that this is a purpose-built dirt track as opposed to kind of slapping dirt over an asphalt surface. And we saw drivers using the middle more than often. Obviously that top will still reign supreme in some cases like we did see at USA. But in terms of this track, at least from what I'm seeing in the dirt state, that middle lane seems to be somewhat of a prominent lane. Could actually put yourself in good position for passes or to just hold on a position if you have it.
Not only that, but the wider turns. I mean, if we can get an angle here, right here, look at this. The turns are way wider than what they ever were at USA. They have all the way down to those pole lines on the inside with the little tire barriers around the poles just to make sure nobody runs right into them, all the way up to that guardrail up on the outside wall. So it's a much wider racetrack in terms of on the turns. So people will be able to go all the way from the top to the bottom and be able to search their way around. It's one of the wider turns I've seen on the dirt side, really. So it really makes for an interesting match here when it comes to who decides to make what move. But Aiden Kirker leading the field to this green flag in the second heat. And there he goes. He's about to get ready to launch, and the green flag is out. We're underway in the second heat. Zach Arnold actually gets a better start, and he's going to be side by side with him through 1 and 2. There is Jay Barker right behind, and JJ Hill moving up to the 3rd position.
JJ to 3rd. Meanwhile, that battle persists. Saw Arnold with a decent start to be even with Kirker at the start of 1 and 2. He's going to secede the position, so Kirker will lead lap number 1 of the 8. Still a little bit of time for Arnold to get up there, and he's trying up to the outside, trying to peek that nose into the center of the corner, but it's not exactly there just yet. Maybe it could develop like we saw with Caleb Nickel making that move on Cody Meadows just a little bit earlier. JJ Hill, meanwhile, has found his way to 3rd, and he's slowly charging the back of the 48. Might have a save for the top 3.
The birthday man is on the charge. He wants to have a good run after celebrating a birthday yesterday. He's right now in that 3rd position trying to capture the 48 of Zach Arnold for 2nd. This is exactly what Aiden wants to see. He wants these two to get battling so he can pull away and get an easy heat win.
Kirker slowly pulling away as these two are reeling themselves in. Barker has found his way into the conversation, so it's these 3 mostly for position. And JJ Hill trying to make that slide drop happen to the bottom. It's just not been effective just yet. And Aiden Kirker looking in that mirror, he's all smiles right up at the head of this field. 4 laps to go in this second heat, while Arnold still under pressure from JJ. Here comes JJ now to the inside for 2nd.
He had a good run off too to be able to enter side by side into turn 3, but I feel like in turns 1 and 2 is where you'll be able to make a slide job work better than in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 looks to be just a little bit too slick to be able to make it stick and really find the grip. You've seen 1 and 2, though he has a little bit of a moment in the center that specific race time in the race. We saw in that first heat, it was Caleb Nickel in 1 and 2 who was able to make the pass on Cody Meadows. So 1 and 2 may be the turn you want to try and make a pass on. It seems to be having a little bit more grip to be able to make a pass on the inside.
Yeah, and you can see it on the entrance of 3 and 4 right there. That little sequence of darker dirt right there. That's very, very slick. You do not want to get in there. And meanwhile, JJ Hill has just smacked the outside wall. He's going to get into Jay Barker hard into the inside guardrail as we reach the white flag in this heat. JJ will surely finish in that 4th spot after looking for 2nd, but Aiden Kirker is going to reach around turn 3 and 4 and take the win in heat number 2, the Pennsylvania Nationals night number 2. He takes 1st. Zach Arnold will capture 2nd. Jay Barker will finish in 3rd, and of course JJ Hill will end that spot for 3rd at the moment. Had hit that outside wall, and he suffers to 4th. At least a good thing, Francisco, is that regardless of what kind of incident you have, you'll still make the main event. So at least JJ Hill could be happy about that. He'll have a spot reserved in that feature, and he'll be able to race for the main event win. We'll seep over into our 3rd and pretty much final heat of this race in this afternoon for our Pennsylvania Nationals in night number 2. There's Caleb Morrissey on the inside of row number 1. He'll start at the front. He'll be the first to lead them off to the green flag. And right next to him is a driver in a new paint scheme. Jesse Atkinson rocking the Cheez-It colors tonight. It seems as though he's going to run that as opposed to the other schemes that he's ran previously with a darker color. He's going to be red and orange yellow in this race. And it'll be Cole Woody in the inside of row number 2. And Vincent Isabella will be the last driver. But we have not seen Vincent yet register into this heat. So we'll see if he stays there, or there he is actually right there on the racetrack. So he'll find his way in the number 1S. He will be there. And we'll have a 4-car heat once again to set 8 more laps. So there goes the pace truck. We'll head up and away for our 3rd heat. And you know, it's a little bit different here, Francis, because I don't think we've seen this just yet, where we see a little less drivers in this field and everybody pretty much makes the show. Maybe there's about 1 or 2 instances where that has happened, where we see all the drivers make it in as opposed to some drivers heading home. Usually we had one. I think we had a highest at Volusia, where we had a handful of drivers go home as opposed to just maybe 1 or 2. But tonight, I think there's no worries. If you just enter this session, you're all good. You're all dandy. You're just focusing on racing at this point, just trying to be a little more and gain a little more experience on this track around others as opposed to really just competing for transfer spots like we've seen before.
Yeah, when you know that there's no pressure of having to go home, you just try and learn the racetrack. Use it as a practice session because you know that the main race is the one that's going to matter. So regardless of starting position, you want to try and have a solid run, get some information, realize what the tires are going to do, what the racetrack's going to feel like. And as the track conditions change, what the dirt status also changing, you can figure out what you have to do, what you have to change as the run progresses. And speaking of positions and qualifying, Caleb Morrissey usually tends to qualify at the back of the field. Even if he wins this heat, he will start outside the top 9 or so, I believe. So despite not having any wins and a lot of second-place finishes, it could come down to lack of track position for that 6th car being able to start in the back and work his way through the front, and just doesn't have enough time. So he'll need some luck if he wants to try and get a win here today, even if he wins this heat. But the green flag's getting ready to wave. Caleb Morrissey is in the lead, and there he goes. He's launching, and the green flag is out.
We're underway in heat number 3, what could be our final heat of the afternoon before we get to the B-main, and of course the feature event. A good start by Morrissey, a better start though for Atkinson. He found his way to the outside in 1 and 2. Here he comes for the heat lead. He's going to swap positions. 127 to the front on the front straightaway.
That was a power move around 3 and 4. He just drove up to the outside and completely went by him. But there goes Caleb Morrissey back on the inside. They make contact. Jesse Atkinson is around and into the wall. And there goes his chances at a heat win after contact with Caleb Morrissey for the lead. And that moves Vincent Isabella, I believe, up to the 2nd position.
Isabella now to 2nd, Woody to 3rd. Atkinson, though, with minimal damage, will try to fight in for 4th. Maybe catch up to Woody, but it might not be enough time to catch up to the back bumper and try at least some sort of pass to crawl his way. Field now a little bit separated by about more than half a second. It's about 8/10 at the line, and now it's a full second as Isabella had a wobble up in turn 3 and 4. So Morrissey currently dominating right now with about 5 laps to go. He's in full control.
Yeah, and what really gave him his big lead was that contact with Jesse Atkinson in turn 1 on the 2nd lap. So unfortunate circumstances for Jesse Atkinson, but as we previously mentioned, at least he doesn't have to worry about going home, which has happened to him before, really, in a heat.
And here comes Atkinson, as I just mentioned, trying to get back up to the number 8 of Woody. So now he's going to look to the inside. It might not be enough grip on the bottom, so he'll succeed now. He'll try it once more in a 1 and 2 with about 2 laps to go into this heat. There's the move and a slide job. Crossover back by the number 8 of Woody. He'll find his way back to 3rd. We've got a good battle up here.
as I previously stated, as he goes back down the inside in 3 and 4, it is not going to work. As actually Cole Woody's into the wall and on his side, and he somehow keeps it going straight. What a save by Cole Woody after slapping the wall. Turn number 4. Caleb Morrissey is leading as we go into 3 and 4 for the final time in the final heat of the day. 1 lap to go in this final heat.
White flag in the 3rd heat for the Pennsylvania Nationals in night number 2. It's all Morrissey at the front. Here's some contact, though, a little bit further back. Might be Woody or Atkinson. Any one of these drivers a little bit further back. I think it is Woody. Has just been struggling. He's around on the front straightaway. It won't matter, though. Caleb Morrissey will cross the line. He will win heat number 3. As Isabella will finish 2nd. Atkinson crawls back for 3rd. And Cole Woody, who's doing donuts there on the front straightaway, hit the inside wall, and at the outside wall as well. He will be in 4th. He's just burning it down right at the guardrail after his finish. And that will be it for our heats here in the Pennsylvania Nationals night number 2 for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. And it says that we have finished. So now this should be... Actually, this is our main event. So no B-main. We have no other races before this. This is the main event. This is everybody here on the racetrack. Everybody from all the heats will find their way into the starting grid. Caleb Nickel will be the first driver to lead the field to the green flag right alongside the number 17 of Aiden Kirker, as he has just found his way onto the grid as well. Caleb Morrissey will sit in 3rd position with Cody Meadows, 3-time race winner. Will try to look for 4th here this afternoon. He'll start from the 4th position. Zach Arnold, AOD Racing teammate, will start on the inside of row 3 in P5. Vincent Isabella, who finished 2nd in our recent heat. He'll start on the outside of row number 3. Brady Wylam will be 7th. Jay Barker will start 8th with Jesse Atkinson and Cameron McCone 9th and 10th. Row number 5. JJ Hill, league owner, will start 11th with Cole Woody starting 12th. And Shane Mantova will find out this 13-car field here tonight. Usually 3 less than what we usually see in this A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. So when we see a salute, we'll just have 1 driver as an outlier. Most likely will be D. Mantova. Maybe we'll have 5 wide at some point, maybe at the rear. But we'll see whether that is the case in the formation lap as they're taking their pace around, and they're going to find their way. It'll be 25 laps tonight, so it will not be as long as we usually see. I think our highest was about 45. However, we do have another event coming up after this. It'll be the New Year's Bash at the beach, and that will be a little bit longer race, I believe about 30 laps or so. And we'll have our second event there, sort of a double header here for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. There is the salute to everybody watching right here on the YouTube stream and everybody tuning in from across and wherever you may be. This is a salute to you, the fans, all the drivers, 4x4, all the way down. And there they be, off of turn number 1 and 2. Their salute before every single race. And now everybody will file out 2x2 all the way down. And we'll find their way out. And we'll get our way to the green flag here very, very shortly. It'll be Nickel and Kirker at the front. They will be on this first row. Morrissey, Meadows. And these group of drivers we've been eyeing on for a good portion of this season. We'll see what happens off of turn number 4. He'll be Nickel and Kirker, first ones to see the green flag. We are up and away for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series Pennsylvania Nationals, night number 2 from the Williams Grove Speedway.
A good start by Caleb Nickel, but there comes the other Caleb Morrissey, trying to look for the lead on the first lap after starting in the 3rd position. He's going to try and make a strong move on the inside. Won't work. He actually loses grip, and he's going to lose second to Aiden Kirker, and he falls back to the 3rd position by the first lap after looking to take the lead into turn 3. So the top 4 or 5 already starting to get single file out.
Bit of a shuffle there for our top 3, but they'll file out soon. But here may be a change for 3rd. There goes Zach Arnold to the inside. He tried the slide job. Morrissey with a crossover there side by side. Down the front straightaway, right up to the guardrail, up on that cushion. They'll try to figure their way out. Meadows, though, sitting in 5th. He has his own battles. There's a big crash on the back straightaway and a caution out. I believe somebody went around. Might have been Jesse Atkinson in the 127 who found the spin there near the rear of the field. He started in 9th. He's currently sitting last, so that could have been what we saw. And we'll try to take a replay, see where that 127 got into trouble. See where he may have been, and here he was sitting right behind Brady Wildman. There's contact with league owner JJ Hill, and that sends him around. You see JJ looking to the inside, tried that slide job move, got into the 127 as they were merging across the track.
Yeah, it looked like a side swipe there. Tried to get too much and just ran into the side of him. I know it's a bit unfortunate for that 127 that happened on lap 3.
Well, at least the good thing for Atkinson is he has pretty much no damage on that race car, so it won't affect his performance as much. Problem is, he will have to find his way throughout this field, and it will be a tall task to get over about 12 cars before he can get up to the top 3 if he wants to get up to first. Nickel still leading this race. Obviously, Kirker in a second. Saw that battle for a second between Morrissey and Kirker, but Kirker found his way back to the outside. And we're still seeing that outside be very prominent at these tracks, Francisco. It's a lot of the sweeping corners, really, and especially at USA, I think we found it out pretty obviously that outside really works. And if you want to be the fastest, you have to use that top. You can use the middle for good reference, but that outside seems to be the best place to be if you want to defend spots, if you want to make those power moves like we saw with Atkinson in one of those heats. That outside seems to be the best at these tracks where you have these long corners and you kind of have somewhat of a tight radius where that inside is just a little bit slower.
Yeah, and that's why people do the slide jobs. It's not so much as to get the position and keep the position in front of the person that you're trying to race. It's rather get up in front of them, make them have to turn down to their inside to keep their momentum up. That way you have the lane that you want, and you're entering the next corner and you have the lane that you prefer, the better lane, and that way you just hope that everything works out your way, and the line will help you take you in front of that person. So the green flag's already out and we're underway. Caleb Nickel with a great start. Caleb Morrissey will move up to second in front of Aiden Kirker. Zach Arnold is side by side with Cody Meadows, and he actually is making a move on Aiden Kirker, and now is trying to take second away from Caleb Morrissey as we have a 4-car battle for the second position.
Kirker seeping down a 4th after starting this restart in second. Arnold gets by, Morrissey gets by, Meadows looking to the inside for that 4th spot to be right behind his teammate. Now they have that mission to catch all the way up to the race leader. It's more than a half a second to Caleb Nickel in the number 29 machine, and this 4-car train is powering. Here comes 5, 6, 7 cars now in a straight line.
JJ Hill has been on the move this race. He started towards the back of the field and he's up trying to get inside that top 5. We see Cody Meadows actually getting passed not quite entirely by Brady Wildman. Brady Wildman also trying to gain a position there on a 3-time race winner on the season, but Cody Meadows will use that outside to get by, and JJ Hill will try to pick up the pieces and go around the outside of Brady Wildman. That's for the 6th position right now. As you see, the top 5 is single file with some of the faces that we've come familiar with.
There's Wildman still defending to JJ Hill, but Hill's going to use the advantage to the outside. Maybe a contact with the outside wall. He'll save it for now. He'll wobble across the front straightaway, and here comes Vincent Isabella to try to go for the pass. Meanwhile, the gap is still maintained at about 0.684 seconds that last time by between Nickel and Morrissey, so it has not decreased whatsoever. We'll see if Morrissey will have enough speed to get up to him. Meanwhile, he's a little bit of a train now. They've separated a little more, but here comes Kirker trying to prey to the inside of the 48 of Arnold.
Kirker had a bit of a stumble on the restart, but he's starting to try and feel that momentum back and trying to take back the positions he lost. And we actually see Caleb Morrissey is starting to close the gap on Caleb Nickel. We've come Caleb Morrissey to know as a long-run driver. He's cut the gap about a 10th that lap as Cody Meadows is around after contact with Aiden Kirker. No caution is out yet, and there's the yellow flag for Cody Meadows, who's spun out of turn number 2.
Caution out for the 2nd time this race. It involves 3-time race winner Cody Meadows. It seems as though he had contact with Aiden Kirker there off of turn number 2. And they found their way. They hit the rear wheel, and that sent him around as they were fighting for position. That was about for that 5th spot between Kirker and the 88 Meadows. Here's another look at it. As he was right behind the 17, and the 17 had a really interesting start there because he went from 2nd all the way back to 4th and was pretty much at a crossroads for 5th. As you saw the 88, I think he just tried to slide up the track, make a slide job move up to the 17, just trying to pick up all the ground that was pretty much there at a big gap on the front straightaway. Tried that slide, and he was sliding up the track, just was not enough as he kind of made slight contact with the rear wheel of the 17, and that sent him spinning around. Good thing though, no damage to the 88 and no damage to any other car on the track. Everybody else seems to have survived, and everybody did find their way out. Jesse Atkinson, meanwhile, as mentioned from Noah Walter down there in the YouTube chat, he found his way from 13th and last. He's now gained about 4 spots to 9th. So he is already cutting his way through the field in that short sliver of a green flag run. Obviously, with the amount of time we have left, Francisco, at 16 laps, it's going to be a while before anything happens. But, you know, that time really could go by quickly at a track like this.
Yeah, it definitely can. And Jesse Atkins is gonna have a run for his money from JJ Hill, who started, I believe, in 11th and is up to the, I want to say, the 5th position, excuse me, I believe, because Cody Meadows spun, unless the time of the scoring has not quite updated. There you see, actually, he is going to be restarting in the 6th position, so he's moved up 5 spots from that 11th place starting position. He showed good speed, but I want to make a quick point. Cody Meadows restarting in the last position on the racetrack, at least I believe, in 12th and or 13th, one of those 2 positions. And the last time Cody Meadows went around in a race, he ended up winning, and that was his most recent win that came in the Florida Nationals.
We'll see if he has enough time to scroll through the field or if he's quick enough to do so. And obviously, he still has to manage with that time. Last car on the racetrack is Shane DiMantova. He is DNF, so he will be not finishing this race in 13. Meanwhile, green flag back up and away for lap number 11 out of the 25. Nichols still ahead, but that gap has shrunk ever since that caution. Morrissey's back up to the rear of that 29. He's going to try to put the pressure. Arnold for 3rd, Kirker for 4th at a 4-car breakaway. JJ in the wall. Hard contact to the outside guardrail. He's up in the fence. He has exited those, so no yellow. We stay green. Morrissey to the outside for the lead.
A huge disappointment for JJ Hill. Must have alt F4 to not affect this race. And there's contact. Caleb Morrissey runs into the back, and the leaders are working.
Arnold up and over, tumbling. Morrissey in a pit lane. Caution out, lap number 12. Involving the race leaders. Arnold into the garage as well. He went up and over, flipping right to the outside of 3 and 4. We'll take a replay. And you saw it right at the forefront of this field. It started with the Nickel and Morrissey at the front. Take a look at this, just fighting for position. You can see this is from the 48's perspective. There's the 6 of Morrissey to the outside. He found his way through. And then I think the 29 just slid up right in front, backed up the 6, hit to the 48, and a huge crash. Atkinson barely gets by. Arnold went flipping over to the outside guardrail. As he made contact, that checkup sent him there. And just went soaring over and landing on his side, ending up in the garage. Morrissey also in the garage as well. So that will most likely signal the end of their nights. And we were talking about, Francisco, how Morrissey had that shot. He was making his way through the field, and he had a shot at the race lead. But then it all just went up in smoke.
Unfortunately, that first win of the season is going to have to wait for Caleb Morrissey. And that happened while battling for the lead. So unfortunate circumstances for him. We also saw Caleb Nichols get into the wall there during that incident, so who knows what kind of damage he may have on that right side of his race car. But one person in that top 5 who made it through clean is the number 17 of Aiden Kirk, who's running 2nd right now. And look at 3rd place, Brady Weilman in the top 3. What a good run he's having early. Cody Meadows has already worked his way back up to 7th, so a smaller field just like that. We have, I believe, 9 cars left running at the moment, so a shrinking field, but we still have some good names here that could potentially get some great finishes.
Yeah, currently 9 cars on the track. Obviously, Morrissey, Arnold, and JJ are still here, although they are in the garage getting their prepares. And it most likely just will signal the end of their night. They probably will not have enough time to even try to get some sort of a mustard finish out of this one. And unfortunate for some of the stronger drivers that we saw here tonight. Hill had a good run. Morrissey and Arnold were having great ones as well. Meanwhile, we're back under green once again on lap number 13 out of 25. Still a good chunk of time left, but Nichols still holding on to the lead. Battle for 2nd, though, between Atkinson, who found his way to 3rd, and Aiden Kirker trying to hold on.
Atkinson, who started all the way in the back of the field, is up to the top 3 position, so a great run going for him, and he's trying to take that 2nd spot away from the 17 of Aiden Kirker. Atkinson, who's won a Hard Charger award already a couple times this season, trying to take 2nd place away from Aiden Kirker. See Aiden sideways, possibly contact down the back straightaway between those 2, but the top 3 are within close proximity. Look that down to 4th, Brady Weilman. Cody Meadows trying to catch his way back up. He's up to the 6th position, staring down that Vincent Isabella's.
Trying to get up to the 1S, and he's been crawling his way. He's got these two cars to get by, but then he's got a little bit of a gap. Almost contact. There's Aiden Kirker, though. Spinning almost loose there off of turn 4. Might have been contact with that number 127, so he'll fall back to about 4th, maybe 5th. He's trying to find a sliver of space right between the 51 and 13. Seems as though he does. So now he's going to try to get back up to where he was. May not be enough time. 9 laps to go. Atkinson chasing down the race leader.
Atkinson has found pace out of nowhere. He's all over the back of Caleb Nickel, and 2 different stories here. As Nickel gets into the wall, huge contact. He's going to lose the lead despite keeping the car straight. So Jesse Atkinson will find himself in the lead after starting in the last position. As Brady Weileman is sideways, there's contact and a wreck. Aiden Kirker flipping over pit road.
Kirker flying over the front straightaway. Caution out. Lap number 18 involved the 51 of Weileman. I think I saw another driver involved in there as well. Huge wreck on the front straightaway. Takes 2 more drivers out of contention. I think Cole Woody might have also been involved in that. He's out of this race as well. Oh my goodness. And a huge crash with the driver who was up at the front of this field for pretty much this entire race even. Well, we'll take a look at where this started. And you saw where the 17 got a wobble up right in 2nd place, and then here he was trying to be there. He fell back to about 7th place on the track. Here it was underneath the 88 of Meadows here. And then Brady Weileman, right, it started with the 51 where he got loose up to the outside wall. I think just trying to keep the car straight or pointed over forward. You saw the 51 get a little bit into the outside wall. You see him kind of snake trailing there, got into Isabella, but went slamming into the 17. And the 17 just has no choice. He's a passenger at that point. You see from an aerial shot, there's the 51 directly into the 17. Hard lick into the fence. Well, at least a good thing in the sim is that no drivers can get physically hurt in crashes, because that was scary.
Yeah, the worst you could probably feel is a bit of force feedback jerk, unless you also take your hands off the wheel, which I know some people tend to do. Jesse Atkinson did take the lead, though, away from Caleb Nickel. Caleb Nickel got the wall off turn number 2, which could be huge as far as what happens in this race. So Jesse Atkinson, who started in the last position, or not the very last position, but somewhat in 12th position, something like that, is up to the lead. So he's passed basically every car in the field in this race. Caleb Nickel, who started on pole, is in 2nd right now. Vincent Isabella with a strong run in that 3rd position, but don't look now, Caleb Morrissey has found his way up into the top 5, running in that 4th position. So never count out that 3-time winner from potentially coming back and stealing this one away.
Especially these crashes have surely helped that 88 get up through the field. Those crashes obviously do help when you're trying to get your way through this field, and it will obviously make things a little bit easier. Instead of just trying to pass them on the track, you pass them when they get damaged. Being involved, just making sure you're not in it. Maybe the last restart of the evening as Atkinson gets loose. He's around in the inside wall on the restart. Caution waves. We will not count it. What will happen to Atkinson? I'm not sure whether he'll lose his spots or whether he'll find his way back to the front. But Atkinson got loose on the initial restart, and he went wailing into the inside guardrail. I think he has just lost all the positions. He's sitting behind Cameron McCone in the 12.
Wow.
What has happened there?
I've never seen anything like that before, where the leader just spins trying to gas it up on the restart. That is a first time. I've never seen that. We had a single file restart. He's up on the top. He just tries to gas it up, and he's in that dirt. That dark dirt we see up there near that guardrail. He just tried to angle it so much, gets the right rear. Oh man, he just spins it.
Yeah, you can see it right there in the cockpit, right there. At least from the outside of the race car, you can see right about here. Right there, you see him shift the wheel all the way to the left to try and get down to the racetrack. But the problem is the rear tire just spun a little bit too much than he anticipated. You see him with a hard slip to the left, and then the car just does not like that response, and then goes into the inside guardrail.
Oh man.
Problem is though, Atkinson will not retain his position, or maybe we'll just try to find out. He stopped on the racetrack, I think, trying to let people by. There's Nickel stopping on the track, so everyone stopped on the track. We might have a red flag situation here. Maybe the first one. I think they'll wait for the pace truck.
I think they're waiting for the pace truck to come around. I think they're giving Atkinson the lead.
Yeah, you can see Atkinson at the front. I believe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they just didn't have enough time in the yellow. The officials decided just to delay the yellow. Looked as though we were going to go green, but everybody just stopped on the racetrack. I think making sure nobody gets any penalties regarding the pace truck. There goes the pace truck back onto the track. So Atkinson indeed will retain the lead. So at least that mistake won't cost him too much. Maybe just a little bit of a heart-dropping moment there, the 127. So at least he'll have another shot to try and fix that mistake and at least try at a better restart to stay in the lead or keep everybody ahead of him, behind him at least for that restart. So Nickel, Isabella will be in this top 3. Meadows will be 4th. Jay Barker 5th. Karen McCone will be 6th. And that's indeed the final car sitting on the racetrack. We have 6 cars still running. Kirker and everybody else behind are either in the pits or are done for tonight. Kirker sitting 7th. Weileman with that crash is 8th. Cole Woody 9th. Caleb Morrissey 10th. Zach Arnold 11th. JJ Hill 12th. And Shane DiMantova, who unfortunately had, I believe, disconnected from this race earlier, is sitting at the tail end in 13th. So we'll most likely have a restart at about, I'd say, lap number 20 out of 25 with that delayed yellow. And Atkinson will still be in the lead, so we will have another try. And Atkinson will have one more opportunity to stay up at the front of this field and lead them to green.
And to explain to our viewers what happened there, I'm going off assumption here, is because we didn't get to complete that lap, the race still scored Jesse Atkinson as the leader. So I believe that's what may have happened there, and that's why we see that 127 still in the lead.
All right, well, to find a little bit more about this, so you might get the 1 to green signal here, but we'll go with one of the drivers and league owner himself, JJ Hill. And JJ, you may have some more information regarding the way this restart and the rest of this race might play out.
Right, so guys, this is solely an iRacing issue. For some reason, the pace truck thought just one pace lap or something. It was really messed up, but Jesse got a spot back. Everyone's back in their spots. This next restart should be perfectly fine as long as nobody wrecks. It was just iRacing issue, their pace truck issue, so we're all good now. We should be going green this lap, I believe. So.
All right, thank you, JJ. Surely appreciate it. Unfortunate to see you out of this race, but hopefully we can try to get to the end of this one. So now pace truck will be off and away. We'll see if Atkinson gets a better restart this time around. He'll be ahead of Nickel and Isabella, and we'll see. This could be the final restart of this race. Back underway off of turn number 4. We're back under green. Atkinson with a huge lead. He'll shoot into turn number 1 with the rest of this field.
That's more like it. That's probably what he was trying to do that first restart. We saw him move down from that brown dirt all the way up against the wall, and look how much it worked for him. Has a half a second lead over Caleb Nickel. Caleb Nickel actually has a couple cars behind him, one of them being Cody Meadows, who's up in the 4th position, trying to take 3rd away as there's a large swarm of cars. Cody Meadows looking to the inside, trying to take 2nd away. He's going to slide all the way to the top of the racetrack, and he's going to take 2nd in just 2-1 turn. He's going to take that position, but there goes Caleb Nickel trying to get back on the inside. It won't be enough. Cody Meadows, who actually scrapes the outside wall, will keep 2nd position and has 5 laps to try and run down the leader. But there goes Vincent Isabella now trying to charge and take that position. So the scramble and the fight is for 2nd as Jesse Atkinson is pulling away, trying to capture his first win of the season.
Meadows does not want to wait. Captured 2 positions in about 2 laps time. He has about 4 laps to catch the race leader. Question is, does he have enough time, and can he do it? 1.3 seconds separate the leader and at 2nd place. He separated himself from this 2-car gaggle for 3rd as Nickel will defend, as Isabella will try to slide job in 3 and 4. He'll take over 3rd. Nickel will try the crossover. They're still side by side with 3 laps to go now. Atkinson still at the head of the charge. He's going to try and hold on to his Cheez-It machine.
That 29 has not been the same ever since he made contact with Caleb Morrissey and got into that outside wall. He's been losing spots and the green flags ever since. Jesse Atkinson has a decent-sized lead over Cody Meadows as he hits 2 to go. Cody Meadows has cut the gap down. The only thing is it's 2 laps to go, so unless a caution were to come out between now and the white flag, he probably does not have a chance to run down that race leader. Jesse Atkinson through 3 and 4, he will take the white flag. He is 1 lap away from capturing his first win of the season.
Gap actually grew there to about 1.8, now 2 seconds at its highest. We're at the white flag down the back straightaway, and the guardrail for the final time. Jesse Atkinson in the 127 Cheez-It machine will capture his first win of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series here in night number 2 of the Pennsylvania Nationals from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway, our 5th different winner in this series, as Meadows will hold on for second. Nickel will finish in the podium spot. Vincent Isabella will be fourth. Barker will be fifth, and McCone will sit in sixth. Those are all the drivers on the racetrack, as Atkinson will celebrate his first win of this season. And Francisco, it looked like it's been, we've waited a while for this, to see this at least. It's, oh no, there goes the 127 right on his side. I guess celebrating a little bit too much, trying to whip the car back around, and I guess he'll muster with what he can and trying to do burnouts on his side there. And we talked about it at the pre-race, Francisco. Our drivers that we've seen that we were surprised had not captured wins. We talked to Atkinson multiple times throughout the season. Top threes, hard charger, you name it. He's been in that conversation, and finally now has a checkered flag to his resume to bring on in this season, and could give him a lot more momentum from here on out, and give him a good shot into the point standings. So right now we're going to take a look at your unofficial results here from night number 2 of the Pennsylvania Nationals from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway. Of course, with Jesse Atkinson, his first win of the season comes here tonight. Kind of long overweighted for him, at least in that 127. We'll talk to him in victory lane in just a couple of moments. Cody Meadows will finish in the second position, just short of that fourth win. Still capturing those 3, but a second place finish nonetheless will help him in that point standings, and at least could help him retain and continue that points lead. Caleb Nickel, after a strong run, had led a good portion of that race. He'll finish third, 3 seconds back, with Vincent Isabella coming home in the 4th spot. Jay Barker will finish tonight from the 5th spot in the top 5 in that number 2 machine. Cameron McCone will be the last one on the track to finish at the checkered flag. He will sit 6th in that number 12 machine, 10 seconds back from the race lead. Then starts everybody a lap down, and the drivers who we thought could be threats for the win, however, did have issues in the mid portion of this race with Rex. Aiden Kirker being one of them. Caleb Morrissey also being another. He finishes 7 laps down in 7th. Kirker 8 laps down in 8th. Brady Walleman 8 laps down in 9th. With that 17, Cole Woody will finalize this top 10.
Yeah, and the final 3 positions will be the 48 of Zach Arnold, the 3 of JJ Hill, who was having a good run going and unfortunately clobbered the wall and got into the fence, and Shane Diamantova, who must have had a problem early and did not finish this race. He finished his 13th and last in the feature race here today.
Those are your 13 cars here tonight from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway. We'll talk to your top 3 and your Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award winner. We'll have interviews with those guys, and we'll be sure to grab Jesse Atkinson from Victory Lane, your winner in the second night of the Pennsylvania Nationals. We'll be with him when we come back.
It's the thirstiest time of the year. Hey. Yeah. I have just one query.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
The answer is clear. It's the thirstiest time of the year. Sprite, let's go.
Back live from the virtual Williams Grove Speedway, where we kick off our KBRN post-race coverage, brought to you by SDC. It was 25 laps of action and a handful of cautions to bring us to the end of our second night of the Pennsylvania Nationals for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. It was Jesse Atkinson who ended up at the top of this field after starting a little bit further back in the field, dropping all the way to the tail end, and then working his way back up, took the lead with a handful of laps to go, and did not concede whatsoever. He is your winner tonight. We'll step into victory lane. We'll bring him in, and not only is Jesse the winner of the race, but he's the winner of the Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award. And Jesse, we'll bring you in from victory lane, and this is our first that we see the winner of a feature event win the Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award as well. You started 9th in this race, but you kind of shuffled to the middle of the field, and all of a sudden you got sent to the rear of the field on an incident earlier in this race. You claw your way all the way back up to the head of the field, and you end up winning here tonight into the Pennsylvania Nationals, night number 2. Give us your thoughts and emotions after, I think, what a wild night for you behind the wheel of that 127.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a really, really wild night for everybody who was watching me, and especially me. From the heat I did, I was probably gonna. Me and the number 6, we were having a great battle. Then he just threw a slide jump on me and kind of tossed me up. Finished 3rd that heat. Then I come into the feature, start 9th. Around lap 3, I get hit, and it wasn't intentional at all. I was just trying to gain positions. And on the restart, I was just gaining position after position, caution after caution. And soon enough, I got up to the top 3, and then I believe got person 2nd. He slaps the wall, so I passed him then, and then Caleb, as I'm getting closer, he slaps the backstretch. I passed him there, and that's when I took away 1st. And then on the restart, the final restart, I think, I don't know what happened there. I figured out where I wanted to start, which is exactly where I started. And the car, I don't know, it wasn't even any slick, and car turns left and hits the wall, and I was trying to correct it, and it just didn't work. But feels pretty good to bring home 1st place.
Yeah, and Francisco and I were talking about it up in the booth that you had been one of the more consistent drivers throughout this series, and now you finally have that chip off your shoulder, and you finally have a checkered flag to put next to your name in this series. Does that give you any more of a boost now coming to the rest of the season, considering your consistency early on, and now that you have this win? Will it change anything in terms of that dynamic?
Yeah, I would say so. It definitely gives me a confident boost that I'm really competitive here with all the fast guys up in the front. It's just a matter of, staying consistent, not getting into any wrecks, and just getting all those top 3s and everything.
Well, Jesse, now you finally have that win, and now you can finally walk away in victory lane at some point in this season here from the Pennsylvania Nationals. Night number 2. I know before we let you go, there has to be a lot of people you got to thank. So which people do you got to thank? Any team sponsors or anyone else who just like to give the love to for today's win?
Oh, yeah. First, we got to thank A&B Outdoors, KBRN, and Dirtman Photography. I got to thank everybody who was watching me race tonight. Got to thank everybody in the race for putting on a good show. And then the biggest sponsor of all, I got to thank Pepsi. And then I also have to thank the Cheez-Its. They helped me through the race.
Well, it was a beautiful paint scheme out on track, and surely, obviously, I was going to mention Cheez-Its in victory lane anyway, so it's good to see you have that next to you on your desk. Congratulations, Jesse, and what a race that was, clawing through the field. It was a lot of fun watching you from the broadcast booth, so our congratulations go out to you, and of course, we'll let you celebrate here from Williams Grove with that Cheez-It and the Pepsi, and we'll let you go. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, thank you.
Jesse Atkinson, your winner and Hard Charger Award winner by Dirtman Photography. He takes both of those regards here tonight from the Williams Grove Speedway. We'll try to get Francisco in with our 2nd place driver, and you'll find him on pit road. That will be 3-time race winner, almost 4 tonight, but finished in second. That is Cody Meadows for AOD Racing in the number 88 machine. And Cody, we'll bring you in here from second. 3-time race winner with your most recent coming at Volusia, and a very close 4th win here tonight at Williams Grove. You had a shot there, and you were also another driver to call your way through this field, because you had a little bit of a moment there where you got involved in an incident, got a little pushed back through the midfield, and then you had to put your way through that segment. Just walk us through what that was like, and was there really enough time to get up to Atkinson there at the end? Was there anything you wanted to try differently?
Really, after the contact with Aiden, there was really nothing I could do. I was like, my thought process was the same at USA. Like, once it happened, it's like, well, just see what I can make out of this. It was just a freak incident with Aiden. I talked to him after it. It was like, I didn't even know what to expect. Because, like, it's like 1 second I'm riding side by side with him, and next thing you know, I'm just going sideways towards the wall. But it was just great to pull something out of it. I mean, congrats to Jesse finally getting his win. Just tough racing today. The track started to slicking off. The cautions were a little bit much today. I mean, I will say this, Williams Grove is one of those tougher tracks. There's really not much room to pass. It's one line mainly, the high. It's just one of the, you got to either make or break your moves. It's just one of those tracks.
And speaking of the venue that we had here tonight, we were talking about a little bit in the pre-race about this track specifically and how it is more resembled to the USA International Speedway, and just in terms of shade, those long straights and those really tight but sweeping corners there that kind of push drivers in different lanes and kind of force them to think differently as opposed to what we saw over at Eldora, over at Volusia. What kind of challenges did this track pose as opposed to USA that maybe could have helped or maybe could have kind of made you at a deficit a little bit tonight?
Well, coming from USA, I mean, I don't know what it was. I had that mindset, though. It's like, well, I did go to USA. It should be fine here at Williams Grove. Starting through qualifying, it felt great. I mean, I was running the same line I tried to run at USA. I mean, yesterday I did the same, but it just, nothing was really working. I had a great drag race with the 6. But, the slick comes on down the front stretch on the right side of the track. The turns is mainly on the bottom for the start, but as I think the 29 got around me in the first heat, it's like I said, you got to choose your moves wisely unless you're going to be up into the wall, because there's not really room at all. I mean, you can make passes, but it's whether they're going to be clean or not. That's the thing.
Well, Cody, it was certainly a hard-fought effort for you in the 88 machine here today from the Williams Grove Speedway. Before we let you go on this second-place finish, I know there's a lot of people you got to thank, so any teams, any sponsors, or really anyone you decide to give the shout-outs to for tonight's race.
And great podium for AOD Racing, and we have a blast coming here with you guys. I'd like to thank A&B Outdoors, Dirtman Photography, and now you guys for coming out, broadcasting, and now sponsoring this race. It's just so much fun with these guys. It's crazy.
Well, Cody, we congratulate you on your second-place finish here from Williams Grove, and of course, we look forward to seeing you for the rest of the season. This position, or at least this finish, should continue to keep you in the championship conversation in terms of the points. So our congratulations go out to you, and of course, we look forward to seeing you at the Battle of the Bash coming here in a couple hours.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good one.
That's Cody Meadows finishing second here tonight from Williams Grove. We'll kick back to our third-place finisher in the number 29 of Caleb Nickel. Led 13 laps, pretty much is at the front of this field, started on pole, but came up just short. He finishes in the third position. We'll bring Caleb in on pit road. And Caleb, you started this race, the first one to see the green flag. You led a good portion of this one, and it seemed as though you were the one to beat in terms of everybody else. Seems like nobody else really had the shot to you, but then all of a sudden the lead swaps hands and then things start to change. What really happened there throughout that final segment of the race that changed your freight from the front to about third, fourth of where you were sitting there?
Well, I mean, I had a great run going on, and then I saw Jesse coming up, and I was trying to keep him behind me, and going down one of the straightaways, I just tapped the wall, and he just flew right by me. And yeah, I fell back.
Well, then after, at least you were able to claw your way through. I know there was a good battle there. I know Vincent Isabella was in that mix. Cody Meadows was in that mix as well. There was kind of a fight between you three for that final podium, or at least that second spot, as well as Atkinson was trying to pull away. What was that strategy there by the end, knowing that all those cars were near you and just trying to survive, keep yourself clean, and try to get a good finish out of this one?
Well, in my head, I thought, we'll pull the slider line, hope you can get something to stick, and just don't take yourself out. And if you take anything out, take out that wall.
Well, Caleb, obviously, hey, that third place finish still would mean a lot here at Williams Grove. But before we let you go, there's a lot of people, of course, you'd have to thank. Any teams, sponsors, or anyone else who'd just like to give the shout outs to for today's effort at Williams Grove?
A&B Outdoors, KBRN, Dirtman Photography. I want to thank God, my mom, my dad, Extreme Sounds, Mobile DJs, Jacob Dove, and I want to thank all the guys at the hauler for making sure this race car was built good tonight after we had a struggle last night.
All right, Caleb, we'll let you go. We congratulate you on your podium finish here tonight in third place. Of course, that will continue your consistency, just how consistent you've been through this entire season. But we appreciate the time, and of course, we thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing what you can do for the rest of this season.
All righty, thank you.
That's Caleb Nickel, your third place finisher tonight from Williams Grove. That caps off all the interviews here. Of course, we would have gone through our Dirtman Photography Hard Charger Award winner, but that regard went over to the race winner. So that's the first time we've seen that in series history, where the feature winner actually captures the hard charging award as well. Usually Francisco would be up in the booth with me at the moment, but it seems as though he's a little busy right now. So we'll recap and we'll take our breaths before going live in about an hour time. We'll go at about 5:45 p.m. Eastern. Our second session will go up, and it'll be our New Year's battle at the Bash, or battle at the beach. The Bash at the beach, rather, at the Volusia Speedway Park. So we'll visit Volusia once more down in Florida. And after our Florida Nationals race, of course, that will bring a lot of excitement after what we saw in those official races. Obviously, the Bash at the beach will be a lot of fun in our preparation for our New Year's celebration before we step into 2021. Well, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in and giving your support throughout here on the KBueno Racing Network. Here for these broadcasts of the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. Will be live in just about an hour time when we go live from the Volusia Speedway Park for our Bash at the beach, our New Year's Bash at the beach for the A&B Outdoors QuickTime Sprint Car Series. Going to be a lot of fun before we step into 2021. So for everybody watching here, and for everybody that makes this league possible, for JJ Hill and all the admins for putting this league together, making sure all the sessions are correct, and making sure the officiating is as crisp as possible. And for all of us here at the KBueno Racing Network, for Charlie Baier and Francisco Bacchial alongside me in the booth, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying good afternoon from Williams Grove. We'll be live in just 1 hour time when we step into the new year.